Nestled on the south of Puget Sound, Federal Way is recognized as an ideal location for business, welcoming innovation to a quality of life that attracts a diverse and well-educated workforce. Our economic base benefits from regional hospital and medical centers, a diverse faith community, and a healthy mix of locally owned businesses, national retailers, and even some Fortune-rated companies. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chamber of Commerce is pleased to welcome Mayor Jim Farrell to offer the business community our 2017 keynote on the state of the city. He is a man who needs no introductions, but he likes one. But I'm going to refrain. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of Federal Way, Jim Farrell.
Thank you, Becca, for that always entertaining introduction. It's an honor to be here, and we're here really for two reasons. First, we're here to support the greater Federal Way business community and this outstanding organization, the Federal Way Chamber of Commerce. Let's give Becca and her team a hand, shall we? Second, I'm here to give you a report on the state of our city. And I'm here to tell you with absolutely no reservations, the state of our city is strong. And I appreciate everything that we've done in this community. In fact, we're getting stronger than ever before. These are exciting times for our city. We've seen tremendous progress in the last 3 years. Federal Way is leaning forward to meet the challenges of not just today, but tomorrow. We are a city and a community centered on opportunity and poised for a resurgence in business and new residents thanks to the policy decisions we've set forth in the last 3 years. Before I say another word, I would like to recognize my policy partners. Would the members of the Federal Way City Council please stand as I recognize you and call out your name? Our Deputy Mayor, Gene Burbidge. Councilmember Bob Selsky. Councilmember Susan Honda. Councilmember Mark Kopeng. Councilmember Martin Moore. And Councilmember Deanie Duclos. Our council works hard promoting the interest of our community, and we are fortunate to have their ideas and diverse backgrounds as a resource for our city and community. You know, I'm really excited to share with you today the positive direction Federal Way is headed. So let's talk briefly about where we've been and about where we're headed. Let's talk first about the Performing Arts and Events Center. You know, when I was first elected as your mayor, the biggest issue facing this community and my new administration was what to do about the proposed Performing Arts and Events Center. It had literally been debated for decades. Now, it's no community secret that I had serious reservations about building the PAC. In fact, I'd been a vocal opponent at times. In fact, one of my main concerns was about how far we had gone down the road in regard to $7 million spent of taxpayer money and multiple votes authorizing us to go down that pathway. You know, I had never opposed the facility in regard to its merits. We all knew that it would be a beautiful opportunity for our community, a great venue to bring entertainment, and really something that would be a star for the region. I did, however, have concerns because I did not believe up until that time that there had been objective financial analysis and scrutiny to the project. Without that, how could we possibly move forward? Seeing the blight that faced our downtown and factoring the reality of the money spent, I knew something had to be done constructively to move the community together. That is why I appointed the members of the Blue Ribbon Panel. My administration assembled experts in finance and venue management with two conditions. Number one, that they had never taken a public policy, a stance on this issue before. And number two, that they were subject matter experts in their field. And to my surprise, the BRP came back with a 137-page report, a recommendation that not only should we build the facility, but that the PAC would be the engine, the catalyst for a revitalized downtown and our economic development. We were able to move forward just a month later in a historic vote in this community, unanimously moving this city forward for the Performing Arts and Events Center. The panel provided the objective financial analysis that was missing and showed our community a successful path forward in this long debated issue. Today, In an unprecedented accomplishment, your city has raised $21.5 million toward the construction of this Performing Arts and Events Center. We're working on finalizing the new market tax credits in the coming weeks, and that stands to gain the City of Federal Way millions more toward that goal that we're working toward. When the PAC opens later this summer, we will do so on time and on budget. We also have the opportunity to do so without bonding. This is a rare feat for municipalities, and our community should be proud of the work that has gone into this impressive project. This will soon be an amazing asset for our city, but also for our region that will attract thousands of people every year. So I really think that I want to thank the council, I want to thank the community. We've really turned the page and moved forward in a manner that I think has done really a great credit to this community as we move forward for the future. But you know, as with most things, our community has seen triumphs and challenges over the last year. My serious and most serious responsibility as your mayor is to do everything I can to ensure the safety of our residents. Public safety is the #1 priority of city government, and when you think about it, it's the number one priority of every government. We have a nationally accredited police department. Over the course of the past year, we have actually added $6 million to our public safety department and our police department in the last 3 years. We've added safe city cameras, a total of over 50 now, and we're seeking additional capital funding from the legislature to get more for those important cameras. We've also opened up our downtown police substation to reduce response times and increase police presence in that key and vital area. We've increased the number of budgeted officers to 140. We passed the 2017 and 18 biennial budget with an increase of 9 additional officers. In my first budget, we had increased it by 5 officers. And that is important because what we needed to do was make sure that we had the number of officers and the personnel in place to respond when necessary and in a timely manner. So there are various revenue options to get us to the point where we can add 9 additional officers. And those include the utilizations of what's referred to as COPS grants, and we'll be doing that, and continued economic development. That is why we've invested in our downtown, to encourage the kind of investment that will provide our city with the revenue that we need for our growing demands. One much discussed but not recommended option is the Transportation Benefit District. I'll be working with the council to put that Transportation Benefit District proposal aside and look for a better way. I don't support the car tab increase, but with the council, we'll be moving forward and find a better way because I believe there is. But I think what we can all be in unison on is that we need the officers and we need the investment for our public safety. Our police department has an outstanding community outreach program as well. Coffee with a Cop, the Positive Tickets program, the shopping cart recovery program, all send the message of partnership and commitment to our fellow residents. You know, in the wake of the tragedy that struck our community last year with a senseless loss of life, we saw the true character of Federal Way. You know, it's really, in my life, that's when I really tell who my friends are and when I really can tell the stability of a community and an organization and when times are really difficult. And when we faced that tragedy, when those 4 homicides occurred, one right after the other in the spring, it was a real test for this community. And our community rallied together to comfort not only the folks, the families that lost a loved one, but we witnessed neighbors and new friends standing shoulder to shoulder in defense of a city we love. In one remarkable evening, it was wall-to-wall people at our council chambers. And we saw hundreds of people come to our city hall and stand up and volunteer their time and their energy and their efforts to help fight back against this scourge of violent crime and to try to find the root causes of that crime. And that is why, with the support of the City Council, I appointed the members of the Violence Prevention Coalition Steering Committee to guide our efforts to study these root causes of crime and develop community-based solutions to support and assist our police department in combating needless violence. There is a growing regional problem. Federal Way will not sit back and watch this occur. We will lead the way and confront this problem head on, and we've done so. Now, I should say that the report from the VPCSC, the steering committee, is forthcoming, and we should all thank them for their service. We have an outstanding police department, and our community stands solidly behind them and beside them. Now, we talked about two branches of government, but let's talk about the third branch, the municipal court. We're fortunate to have two outstanding judges, one of which is with us today, Judge Dave Larson. Your Honor, and Judge Rebecca Robertson, my longtime friend, couldn't be here today, but she does great work on behalf of the people of this community. The court's had a good year with the implementation of a revolutionary case management system. It took a little case management system. It took a little while to get there, but it's launched and it's just doing great things. We have a new security contract, and we formed a probation department. As a former prosecutor, let me tell you, a good probation department is so critical, as well as the addition of services through outside vendors that help defendants have better lives. You know, what occurs in those courtrooms, especially at the municipal level, is not just about incarceration and punishment. It's about getting people back on the right track and helping them as neighbors, put an arm around them, make sure that we don't have those repeat customers. So I just want to say thank you, Your Honor, and thank you to the Municipal Court for the work they've done. Now I want to talk about our park. And by our park, I mean our town square park. You know, on any given sunny day, there's a place in the center of our town full of family and residents enjoying our very own town square park. Opened in July 9th, 2016, with 1,500 people in attendance, reactivating a blighted section of our downtown. There were 21 acres in our downtown that was empty and blighted. That is simply unacceptable. And the goal of the past 3 years, and will continue through my administration, will be to reactivate our downtown. And you know, it's incredibly popular. I like to drive over there all the time. My little son Benjamin always teases me because on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll drive over there just to see how many people are over there and just to see the kind of vibrancy that we're talking about. It's incredibly popular. Thousands of people have enjoyed it over the summer and fall months. It's truly a community treasure, and it's been used for events like We Scare Hunger, movie nights, community celebrations, and the tree lighting and concerts in the park. In fact, I can tell you that in my first year in 2014, what had been that blighted, empty section of cyclone fencing and just a pile of rubble, 9 months into my administration, we had 1,000 people there to watch a movie. And that's the kind of transformation we're talking about. Your new park, as you can see here, features great amenities. The spray park, the zip line, Explorer Dome, the green features, the low-impact development with the green roofs, permeable pavers, pervious concrete, rain garden, and education features. It's a proud example of what we can achieve when we work together and remain environmentally conscious. I'd like to take a minute, it's not my speech, but I'd like to take a moment and thank Steve McNay for his vision about adding those portions of the environmental things that make it a signature park. I'd also like to take the time to especially thank the Public Works and the Parks Department that delivered this on time and on budget. Let's give them a big round of applause. You know, we're really fortunate to have a great park system and all, and they just do such great work. They've got 33 other parks. We've got record membership at the community center. We've got robust recreation programs, including our day trips and silver sneakers. It's a great resource for families with our summer programs and non-school program days for kids. Moving forward, we'll be able to create specialty camps related to athletics, STEM, and dance. We'll be updating our community center website and phone system and enhancing accessibility and customer service. You know, in Public Works, there's so much happens in that department. I'm going to give you some numbers here. They're staggering. Federal Way was awarded more than $15 million in grants and transportation projects, surface water management, solid waste, and recycling. We have continued our successful asphalt overlay program and completed 16 individual projects, ensuring that Federal Way has and remains the best roads in Washington State. We are continuing our popular recycling events as well. Our next one will be on April 15th at the Wild Waves parking lot. Thank you, Wild Waves, for making that available. And we're planning more than a dozen different projects in 2017. I would like to talk with you now about how Federal Way is responding to a terrible national crisis, the rise in homelessness in America. Isn't that a staggering picture? And that, you know, you guys, that scene goes on and on and on. You can't capture it all in one picture. And when I started touring those sites around Federal Way, I was astounded with the devastation. But not just physical devastation, but emotional and personal devastation. You know, we've seen the rising alarm in homelessness in Federal Way and its effects, especially in King County. And much of this is due to the opioid explosion and its after effects moving to heroin addiction in our country and our region. We cannot passively sit back and watch our own people drift into the abyss. Well, obviously, not all of our homeless population is on drugs. The introduction of folks that are seriously on drugs and drug addicted has changed the dynamic in the homeless population, not in a positive way. And that is why last April I announced the Homeless Encampment Services Initiative, a 4-tiered approach. Number 1, coordination of service providers from the city and region. Number 2, providing care, compassion, and referral of available services to those in need. Number 3, initiating the cleanup of encampments to address environmental concerns and damage to public and private property. Now, when we first launched this, what really got me out there just north of Steel Lake was multiple propane tanks had exploded and 5 trees had caught on fire. Just the week before last, we had 3 propane tanks explode with a 30-foot plume of smoke. It is a danger to those folks, not just in those camps, but immediately adjacent. Number 4, work with referral services to assist those afflicted with drug addiction. Let me be clear, it is not compassionate to let our neighbors in need live in the woods in these conditions. If somebody I loved, somebody that I cared about was in those woods, I'd be out there every day to drag them out. And that's what we're doing right now, is trying to give these people an opportunity to come out of the woods and to join normal life and give them the tools necessary to do so. And that's why so many around this community have done so as well. The day center, which the council has backed and given the resources to do so, is now open. It will serve as a place to coordinate services and get people on that road to recovery. When I meet with regional and state leaders, I talk about the day center as an example on how to start that process and arrest that desperate cycle of homelessness. We've increased human services funding to meet these growing needs. Now, in an effort to further coordinate services and get mothers and children in need out of the cold, we've created the Homeless Mothers and Children's Initiative. There were just gaps in services. And even as I was attempting to put information and make sure we got the information on social media to tell people where we're going, we couldn't even get a straight answer on which shelters were open. So we launched this just last month, and I appointed Councilmember Susan Honda and homeless advocate Sherry Edwards as co-chairs of the Homeless Mothers and Children Initiative. Thank you both for their willingness to serve. They were the obvious choices. They're so committed and they've got big hearts about this. And the HMCI will be tasked with filling those gaps in services. It'll work on coordinating shelter for those in need. Federal Way's Human Services Division, the Mothers and Children Initiative, New Hope Community Church have come to an agreement to an immediate winter shelter for homeless mothers and their children. In addition to the shelter program, the HMCI will look at long-term solutions to homelessness and work to ensure local services are not redundant and remain effective. So great steps for our community. So if you read the Mirror, which you all should, right, Rudy? There's been a lot of coverage regarding the Industrial Realty Group, formerly known as the Weyerhaeuser property. Let's start with the fundamentals on IRG. We will continue to follow a fair and legal process regarding all applications. The city and IRG sent in applications to the Seattle-King County Economic Development Council for a site location of a major aerospace company. I personally spoke with the CEO of IRG to make sure that we were both on the same page about that important application. We will continue to work with IRG to recruit businesses to Federal Way, and will continue to encourage responsible development that is outlined in the city's economic development strategy. This will serve to promote the interest of our city and all of our residents alike. Regarding support for Northlake residents, my administration continues to work with the citizen-led Save the Weyerhaeuser Campus group and concerned residents to preserve and protect the pristine shoreline west of Northlake. It's a beautiful area. I've recommended, will need council approval, an expenditure of $1 million in Federal Way Surface Water Management Funds, what they commonly refer to as SWIM funds. I've also instructed the Federal Way Public Works Department to apply for $1 million in King County Conservation Futures Grant toward this effort. And we've identified potential partners and communicated with them with the Trust for Public Lands and Forterra moving forward. This is an effort that we are committed to, and I'd like to thank my new Senior Policy Advisor, Yarden Weidenfeld, for his efforts and continuous coordination with those folks. Now let's turn the page to something I think is a very regional issue, and that's the SeaTac Airport expansion. The expansion of SeaTac Airport and the increased economic development that it represents and that it's been driven by are real positives for our region. However, that expansion must be balanced and weighed with public health, environmental conditions, noise, and safety concerns. That is why I've created the Safe and Quiet Skies Citizen Task Force. We've asked Federal Way resident and former Alaska airline pilot, Colonel Robert Blix, U.S. Army retired, to lead a 7-member Federal Way Citizen Task Force to address the issue of airplane noise abatement and safety. There are environmental and quality of life issues related to the significant increase in air traffic. We do have some concerns over the potential impacts regarding the planned expansion of SeaTac Airport. Colonel Blix is also involved with the Quiet Skies Puget Sound, a regional task force addressing these issues. And we'll continue to work on that. It's just important that we have a seat at the table and that people know that there are people underneath these airplanes and that our quality of life is at stake while they're making these plans. In regard to economic development, great news. We've got Tim Johnson in the back of the room, the hardest working man in government back there. And Federal Way is a city on the move, and we've seen noteworthy investment in our local economy in the last few years. Elenos Greek Yogurt is in permitting to open in the former Baden Sports location later this year. They will employ more than 50 people. As we know, Progressive Insurance invested $10 million in their new facility and employs over 40 people here in Federal Way. Seattle Children's opened and their $15 million facility employing over 45 people. City MD opened in November 2016 and they work in concert with CHI Franciscan. They took literally the old Arby's location on Pacific Highway, and now it's a place where people come for emergent care. It's just fantastic. We've seen businesses like Hong Kong Market open, Maurice's Clothing, Mod Pizza will open later this year, and we continue to recruit major end users, not just for the IRG property, but for the entire city overall. And let's not forget the most important, which is legendary donuts. This administration has its priorities. The last time I spoke with you, and no jokes, Pete. The last time I spoke with you, I introduced the staff from Rusty George Creative, whom we've worked on our city's rebranding effort. This is an important process, and our community will get to see a presentation next week from Rusty George. Our image is important, not just in how we see ourselves, but because we live in a global economy, and we need to work to gain a competitive edge as we recruit new companies to Federal Way. We're truly a community centered on opportunity. The effort is moving forward nicely. We'll be presented with an opportunity theme, and brand development is currently underway. 2 unique and forward-thinking logos have been developed, and a presentation will be made at the next City Council meeting on February 7th. We're also going to be talking about it at a retreat this coming Saturday. You know, earlier this month, working with our partners, a historic memorandum of understanding was signed in my office between the City of Federal Way, the University of Washington-Tacoma, Highline College, and our own Federal Way Public Schools. Seeing our university initiative take a monumental step forward. We're working to bring a new and exciting education opportunities to Federal Way. We'll be asking the legislature this session to seek consensus for a university campus in Federal Way. And we're planning for a downtown location that will create the kind of impact that provides our residents with the new educational opportunities now and in the future. Let's give our partners, the Federal Way Public Schools and Highline, a big round of applause for their efforts. We've got Lisa Scari in the picture, and we've got Tammy Campbell. We've got our Deputy Mayor, Gene Burbidge, and former council member, Kellen Maloney. This picture represents so much effort, and I just want to say once again, thank you to the school district, because it is a monumental step forward. In closing, as you can see, we're attempting to change the paradigm of our city. Change is a powerful word. It can often engender discomfort. In fact, Robert F. Kennedy, a change agent in his own right, once said, "Progress is a nice word, but change is its motivator, and change has its enemies." Ladies and gentlemen, I believe with every fiber of my being that we live and work in the best city in our state. We have worked to achieve positive change for Federal Way, and I've done my level best to lead this city with a sense of purpose. When I look out at this audience, I don't see complacency. I see change agents looking to make a difference in our city. Let us continue to move forward with a unified voice. Let us keep our eyes together, looking forward toward a brighter future. Working together, I know our best days are surely ahead of us. Thank you, and have a great week.